anything but comfortable at the moment. Meanwhile, for Barcelona, of course, we led the show yesterday, didn't we? As the breaking news came out that Xavi was going to step down at the end of the season. Let's hear more from that announcement.
Anunciar doncs, que el 30 de juny no seguiré com a entrenador del Barça. És una decisió que hem estat parlant ara amb el president, amb Rafa Yuste, amb Alejandro Echeverría, amb Deco i amb part de l'estaf. Crec que la situació mereix un canvi de rumb i com a culer no puc permetre aquesta situació. Crec que ha arribat al punt d'anunciar-ho públicament, així ho tenia decidit ja fa uns dies, però crec que és el moment. Tal com han anat les circumstàncies, crec que el club necessita un canvi de dinàmica i sobretot com a culer, pensant en el club, en el bé dels jugadors també, pensant en ells, crec que també s'alliberaran, estaran més tranquils, crec que juguem amb massa tensió pel bé de la junta directiva, del club, com a culer, pensant com a home de club, crec que el millor és marxar el 30 de juny. Dit això, doncs donaré tot de mi aquests 4 mesos que quedan. A ver, no sé, para explicarme un poco más, pues la sensación de ser entrenador del Barça es desagradable, es cruel. Sientes que te faltan al respeto muchas veces, sientes que no te valoran el trabajo y entonces esto es un desgaste terrible, terrible a nivel de salud ya, a nivel de salud mental, de estado de ánimo. Yo soy un tío muy positivo, pero la energía va bajando hasta el punto pues de que dices, no tiene sentido. No tiene sentido continuar y así lo explico. Pues, y es así, lo tengo decidido hace tiempo, mis más cercanos lo saben. Es una situación que, bueno, y que pienso que ya afecta al club. Una cosa es que me afecta a mí, pero el club sigue yendo, los futbolistas siguen ganando partidos, pero ya cuando afecta al club, entonces tengo que decidir yo que me marcho el 30 de junio, sin más.
That press conference, of course, dominated the headlines in Spain. Marca goes with Barca sink and Xavi goes. Ask goodbye, League, goodbye, Xavi. Mundo Deportivo, Xavi's bombshell sport. Xavi is going. Sid, you watched that press conference, and one thing strikes you probably more than anything. This is a man who has completely and utterly had enough.
Yeah, and bear in mind as well, this is not just a man that has had enough, any man, any coach. This is the guy that was a Barcelona youth teamer, that's Catalan, that became the Barcelona captain, that was the heart of their best ever midfield, that had Barcelona as his everything. Absolutely his everything. A guy who talked constantly about the genetic makeup of Barcelona, about the identity of Barcelona, who believed in everything that at least in his mind, Barcelona stood for in footballing terms. And actually I would go beyond that and say in socio-political terms as well, in terms of its identity and everything that goes with Barcelona. Xavi was the embodiment of that, or at least the embodiment of a genuine belief in that. And so you're not just talking about somebody who thinks, yeah, it's quite hard this, it's really difficult, there's lots of pressure, I don't want any part of it. It's someone who really, really wanted this job more than anything else, really wanted to be the Barcelona manager more than anyone else, and has got to this point. And by the way, got to this point after a little over 2 years. He hasn't been in the job very long. He won the league title last year, which was, for what it's worth, an extraordinary achievement given everything that was happening. And yet for him to have already reached this point is, and you used the word earlier on this afternoon, it's really quite sad actually to hear him sit in a press conference and basically say, this job, and those 2 words, this job is cruel and unpleasant.
One thing that struck me as well, Ali, these phrases, the players can be calmer now. They can play freer.
Yeah.
I don't get it. How does that work? How does him leaving make things easier inside the dressing room?
And he's making a connection, I think, here that does not exist. He's saying the players are going to be calmer, that they're liberated, they're free of tension. Wait a second. Does your announcement mean that now the players can defend better than they have the whole season? Does that mean that they're going to be able to create more opportunities in front of goal? Does that mean that Lewandowski is now going to score whatever opportunities present themselves? I don't think that connection exists. Neither does the fact that he says that he's calmer as well, that he's liberated, that he sort of has this weight off his shoulders. if indeed this is a situation that is affecting your mental health, if you dread the idea of coming to work because of what it means to be a Barcelona manager and the pressures that are put on you and the criticisms that are put on you, then honestly, if you are willing to speak out on this matter, why don't you just walk away then?
Right.
Because how do you then say, I'm liberated to do my job now since I've made this announcement? But you also said in the same press conference, I've been thinking about this for a while. So if you've been thinking about this for a while, it has actually taken energy away from you coaching the team, which is the thing that could have resolved this issue for you. Coaching of the team so that the team play better, so that you get better results, so that there is less criticism, so that indeed there is less pressure. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. This doesn't happen out of coincidence. It's the fact that the team hasn't been playing well, and he is at the forefront of the team. I don't quite understand the connection that he's making between him walking away and somehow magically the players performing at a high level, which they haven't done over the course of the whole season.
Luis, what do you think?
No, that in the end he's trying to take away pressure by telling the players, listen, guys, from now on, we are going to continue doing the things, but at the end of the season, you're going to be open to something new. So maybe I'm saying they can free them and try to think about, listen, let's do our best. Let's try to push a little bit because at the end of the season, we are going to try to find something. Maybe in that message is sending something like saying, if you are not with me or if you think that I'm not doing what you need to do to win games, at the end of the season, you're going to be free to play a different kind of game. But I don't see also the connection between leaving at the end of the season. Meanwhile, you have 4 months to continue working, to continue delivering, and to continue. Then let's not forget that they have to get into the top 4. If not, the club is going to be in a big trouble. And they still, why not have the challenge of the Champions League? That is also a very important matter for Barcelona. As long as they stay in the Champions League, the best for them economically speaking. So I don't see the connection, but I think that is going in the head the idea that they're going to free the players and the players are going to play better, or at least without that kind of pressure.
Sid, go on.
Sorry, no. My take from what Xavi just said is, I always feel like as a player, one of the hardest things to do as a player is to walk away from the game for any reason at all. Which is why when we're discussing other incidents, as we did last week with Milan and players walking off the pitch, that's a difficult task. That goes against the grain of who we are. So Xavi saying that he's waiting to the end of the season, that's a hard stop. It's hard now. No player during a game, even when you're playing badly, no player ever puts their hand up and says, substitute me. That's the manager's job to make that call, and that's kind of still in his DNA. That he's going to see this out until he sees his number up on the board. So that's where I think this is coming from. And similarly, in terms of what he's saying about the players, I took that to mean that I've been feeling for some time, and I've said that I feel the players are kind of undermining Xavi in the dressing room. And now he's saying, okay, you all wanted kind of free reign. You're about to get it. Let's just see the rest of the season out, and then you all can make your own decision, given some the way you've kind of managed or worked behind the scenes against me. And so that's kind of how I took it. And I find it heartbreaking, especially, given what Sid said, and for anybody who did not see Xavi as a player 10 or 15 years ago, and Sid described him as the heartbeat of that midfield that won so much. This is a midfield that you can make the argument is about the best midfield football has seen. And Xavi's the heartbeat. And now to see him, given everything about this club and his attachment to this club, to see him sit there broken. Yeah. It's hard for anybody who saw those teams. It's hard for somebody who understands what being a football fan and then going on and represent that club is all about. And it's difficult. Of course, his time as a manager won't be remembered, but if you remember him as a player, you can't help but sympathize.
To the point, Shaka, that you were making about potentially some players undermining Xavi. If you're Xavi and you know you're gone on June 30th, and obviously you've made that decision, well, at this point then, you don't rely on those players. You're still in a decision-making position. You're still the manager of this club. So guess what? Lean on the young guys.
Yeah.
Lean on the young guys, on the guys that you know that they're at least are going to work for you, that they're going to run for you, that they're going to put everything on the line for you. If that's a young guys, then ride the young guys. If there are guys in that locker room that, quite frankly, you cannot trust, or quite frankly, haven't asked what you've asked them to do, they're not giving you consistent performances, or simply seem to be disengaged or disinterested, then come and sit down. It doesn't matter to me what happens to you here in the future because I'm not going to be around. But I care about the young guys because those are the guys that I brought through. Lean on those guys and see if they answer the call.